TMO Online Television wishes all our viewers and followers a peaceful festive season. We would like to remind you that our associates and affiliates may not be liable for views expressed on the show. Viewer discretion is advised.
Romancing, they can touch. You see, Africans don't, because Africans are vibrant a little bit because of the climate. You find many African men don't have this time of romancing. They already hit.
Yes. Of course, many of them are not interested.
But it was intended. In fact, a Muganda woman, because we are not moving with the knickers, a Muganda woman will tell another woman, you have overstretched your legs, and the obusolo, this obusolo like a bukapa, like a magunju, will even feed on your husband's chicken. Kakati to a Muganda would say they had no knickers, and they did not have knickers, so they did not want to expose the female attractive part of the woman. What they did was to visit the bush. The bush, if you find a woman who visited the bush, it's not easy to rape. They insert those elongated things, parts into their private parts. And once a man wants to force his way into a woman, then it's a defense. This is a defensive mechanism.
I didn't know that was
it. They don't know the essence. If you want to change a society, know the essence and use, and after realizing the purpose, then you find the solution.
Mbalamusizzaako mwena gye musinzira okubanga mulaba TM Online Television. Na guno omwaka tugukubye olukumu mutwe, mwebale kutuwagira. Yenze Kanka Kapita Nagusedda aba Stone Roofing and Construction Company ng'erinnya bwe ligamba zimba amaka ku mayinja. Ejjinja ly'aba Stone Roofing ye brand yaabwe abasajja bazimbi aba Scout. Nkukakasanga nkugamba nti aba Stone Roofing omwaka ngugwako guno beesige ba Scout beesimbu bawo omulimu gw'okuzimba okukubira plan saako n'okubanga batetenkanya kapoloti koyina akatono basobola n'okuyambako okuguza ettaka eritaliko nkaayana oba okucekingira eriryo n'okubeererawo singa oba olina ly'ogula bo naddala mu abali e Bulaaya. Abantu bano aba Stone Roofing bajja kusobola okubeererawo ng'ogula. Saaviisi eyo mbasaba mugyeyambe nnyo musobole okubanga mugiraba.
Tubalamusizzaako nnyo mwena gye musiizira okutulaba mwebale nnyo kutuwagira. Muzeeyi Tamale Mirundi senior mutabani wa Mole n'amatovu Mirundi ne John Mirundi ne Yohana oyagala nnyo amannyo gazza mu Luganda
Yohana
mutabani wa Yohana Mirundi. Era kuzino muzeeyi nanotisinze simanyi lwaki oyambala nnyo African wear. Enkofiira tekyakuva ku mutwe.
Enkofiira is a traditional hat. I belong to the traditional religion where you see we are like a cattle keepers. Enkofiira is a symbol of wealth. When you say cattle keeper, like me, when you see one side followed it means that person who followed this one side has a certain number of cows. When you see somebody following all the sides, it means that has a certain number of cows. When you see unfollowing all the sides, it means that he is a rich man. See, for us cattle keepers, every 100 cows, there must be a bull with a bell. So if you are quarreling over who has more cows and who doesn't have,
you simply follow the bells in the bulls. I see.
Yes.
Now that means Museveni has almost a lot of cows because of the hat.
So Kofiira matters. Kofiira, even these wigs, the judges put on, were developed by the Chinese to tell you that this is an old man. Goggles were developed by the Chinese to their judges to tell you not to see somebody in the face. Because seeing somebody in the face, you can be distracted.
Yes.
But the current gowns and wigs of our judges were started in 1846 when the British judiciary was mourning Queen Mary. Era bazikolanga mu ddiba fresh sheep skin nga biwunya. It was intended. In Kenya, because of modernity and demystifying the judiciary, a judge can go, is free to go in his suit. Like the Pentecostals. The Pentecostals can go to church with their suits, not cassocks. That's modernity, but our population does not understand these things. Kati enkofiira yange eno yakabona.
Naye eriko eddaala y'obukulembeze mu nzikiriza y'obuwangwa
bwaffe
n'ennono.
Kati nze ndi kabona ku level zino, if you rate me mbeera nga cardinal. Wasigaddeyo kintu kimu kyokka, kubeera papa. Naye to get this enkofiira you must perform a lot of miracles and they must be documented. Nga bw'olaba nti
there must be people who saw them happen.
Yes. You must perform many miracles to acquire this enkofiira. They are not many.
But they can't be
very expensive. They are very expensive. Very expensive. Yes.
Now, Mzee, still when we are starting, I needed some information from you regarding the third wave of COVID-19.
You see, Europeans, they are not like us. They respect their propagandists. You cannot do anything without getting those who can influence society. How can we influence society? To influence society, you must look what, if you want, for instance, female cat, ngabagisu, you look mayanga abasebe. You must look what the history. You must look what the history. These were distant traders, the men. That's why, what part of this female being do they cut? The part that creates trouble, the most stimulating part, that's what they take. Why? If you are married, it means you are to produce children, not to elope with other men. So if your husband is away, they reduce the desires of a woman, because for them, you are married to one man. So you look what governments, successive governments, have tried to eliminate this practice,
mutilation,
but they don't look why has it resisted? And in fact, the first woman to fight this female cat was Jane Frances Kuba, was called Kuba. She eventually became a deputy principal private secretary to the president. But she has disappeared like a gonorrhea. She was from MOP, from where she received a lot of publicity. She was isolated. At one time, President Museveni suggested that those women who carry out this exercise are paid money. So Museveni offered a salary to them. They did not stop because if you wanted to change society, you look what the practice. What's the practice? The practice is intended to please men. So you start with the men.
Instead of
men should know that whether you were cut or not, you were full woman.
Yes.
Because the whole thing is intended for who?
For the men.
For the men.
Of course.
So if you start it upside down to women, and when the men, the consumers, you look what the consumers.
Of course, the women would do it for the men. So of course you change the mindset.
Yes. Kakati from Waganda, baleta sukari. Sukari omweru, no brown. You don't know what makes the two. Limestone. The one which is brown is not subject, is not mixed with limestone. Kati Abaganda, sukari omweru no wa brown, bamuyitanga kyeyagalire. Kyeyagalire bwali anjola. All of the people moved to the white sugar because they believed that white sugar was pure. Yes. Kakati sukali wa brown akyalabika.
Sukali wa brown takyalabika nnyo.
Yes, the Indian traders found out that by the Baganda at that time were the main consumers of these commodities. They believed that this is not pure sugar. The pure sugar should be, so they added in limestone. When you see white sugar is a mixture of limestone and the sugar cane. When you look at how things, Baganda women visit the bush, but a minister in this government provoked the Baganda and she was silenced. Why? She didn't know.
Silenced to
she didn't know the purpose of Okukyalako. Okukyalako is intended because women cannot apply a padlock. They have not developed a pant, a knicker that would prevent raping. And you know, in those days, you could only elope with a widow or an old woman. Baganda babayita nakiyombekedde okweyombekera ate doze kiva mu Lunyankole okwembeka doze to construct tinakiyombekedde yali yekka. We are told as younger people, not whenever a widow or a nakiyombekedde would call you to help her, either to split firewood, these logs, to do something that a man could do. You could be accompanied by an elder. My mother, because I grew up as a very handsome man, young man, and I had status and fame. So my mother ensured that whoever wanted
a service from you,
yes,
you would be escorted.
Olukulu later lukwasize wano.
They would not allow you to go.
Kakati, when you study Okukyalako in Uganda, many people they say it's painful. Yes, it's painful. But in Baganda, we don't have many rituals. That, for instance, the Bagisu, this Embalu. Embalu, I think it is intended, they use one knife. That once you use one knife, you cannot engage in any fight with your generation.
I see.
You share the knife. The Baganda call it Omugaso. They get banana, they get coffee beans, they cut you, get your blood, and another person gets his blood, then you swallow his blood and you swallow yours.
Yes.
So once you fight against him, when you betray him, your stomach swells. This you look at the blood. But in Uganda, the Kabaka cannot shed the blood on his land. It will be a curse. This is why Mutesa one was not circumcised. Kakati to Muganda would say they had no knickers. And they did not have knickers, so they did not want to expose the female private part of the woman. What they did was to visit the bush. The bush, if you find a woman who visited the bush, it's not easy to rape. They insert those elongated things, parts into their private parts. And once a man wants to force his way into a woman, then it's a defense. This is a defensive mechanism.
I didn't know that was its
They don't know the essence. If you want to change society, know the essence and use, and after realizing the purpose, then you find the solution.
Then Mzee, you're talking about influencers.
COVID we've moved from giving information, avoiding it, prevention to vaccination. But the problem is that in the process, the government did a lot of mistakes. And you see, when you are dealing with a group that is within an area or a society, this is where the Europeans scored much. they created, said people should not go enter Uganda without being monitored for 14 days. The people had hotels as usual, picked people, including ministers from Entebbe airport to their houses, putting because the law in Africa is like a cobweb. A cobweb only catches small insects.
Of course.
And the big one was like a cockroaches go through. Kati bano tebategeera buli babadde babba mu nzige buli wamu wonna kubba. Era kakati after this COVID, you see mushrooming buildings.
Of course.
And Ugandans call them COVID buildings. They will be captured at one time. I'm telling you.
Yes. Those
who are stealing, who stole this money, and are constructing, they are inciting the population without knowing.
Yes.
Where did you get this money in a situation where everybody is facing financial challenges? These buildings are documented, I'm telling you. In another regime, we shall get the Ethiopian example, where M.i.S.O captured all of these buildings from the civils, the former civils of Sirasi. It will happen here. When I predict 10 things, I see 8. That's one. 2, they took people to isolation centers. They were not given food. They were not given anything. It became commercial. Other diseases came up. And the tourist ones were sent on in Masaka, a food in Mubende, in Mitiana. They were the local defense people used to get money, violated the policemen, would beat up people, pregnant women. So the whole exercise was botched. Now,
it is said
when you move now to vaccination, everything now, when a government loses, or its institutions lose public trust and confidence, then everything becomes a referendum.
Of course.
This is why Museveni moves cautiously. He says, go and vaccinate. The drugs are here. But this Attorney General and those excited people want people to go there by force. That's why Monitor gets the audacity to publish a story that unless we vaccinate, you see they hide behind mafias, hide behind credible institutions. The Monitor newspaper is hiding behind World Health Organization. Is there a date? Are you telling us that in the United States everybody has been vaccinated? Are you saying that in Britain everybody has been vaccinated? Vaccination involves many factors. The availability of drugs.
Yes.
And for us who are donated the drugs, they have different effects. But because these people want to take advantage, they want to forceful vaccination to say that the drugs are short.
The excited
they have stockpiles. They want to force everybody. Why do you force everybody? We must move cautiously. What if tomorrow they tell us that a particular drug, those who are vaccinated by the particular drug
are going to die?
Why do you force people to eat food if the food is not poisonous?
Let them become hungry. They will find the food themselves.
Let us allow our people. I know people trust Museveni. The only trusted person in Uganda is Museveni. Why? Museveni has never betrayed the Ugandans. These religious leaders, the Kabaka was vaccinated with Navagereka. Why are you saying that people must be forced? It means people don't trust the Kabaka. Has made a contradicting statement.
But they, of course,
the other day in Nkoni,
they also vaccinated Museveni.
The other day in Nkoni, he fights for land. When Museveni gives him money to go for Germany for treatment, the thing changes. Mayiga comes up with his goggles. Mayiga blikasera nonya Kuba. Omumali semanye gonde orosesira. These are thieves. I heard they are shameless. I heard Chiwalebe Mali talking about rights of workers. How do they treat their workers in CBS? A man, haven't you heard this man who used to call himself of Uganda?
Yes.
A sportsman.
Baliruno.
What did you do to Baliruno? What type of people are these?
The guy was complaining over a long time now payment.
Kubanga basharinga, this is a corrupt institution. Kati churches cannot. When the Mirembe bamu vaccinating, walaba bakusta bagenze. We agamba nti Gondi church house ya church nosaba 56 billion egula sente meka nokkiriza twakita zaatu mwebaza ngali wanted is indicted by ICC nozikiriza gwe omukulembeze w'eddiini. So he lost. The Anglican church man has lost. All of these people have lost. So you don't have influencers. Most of those you use influencers have no credibility. You must come to us who have credible, who have credibility. So for me, I tell these people that now, that's why I suggested that vaccination should be carried out by the soldiers. Medical army soldiers, Museveni and the army are trusted. There are two remaining institutions in Uganda. Museveni
is not an institution.
Museveni, a human being, and because he's a Twakaliko, he's a career, and the military.
But
all of these leaders are fake.
But Museveni was vaccinated.
How can a religious man lie that the church house belongs to the Anglican church, and tomorrow you are begging?
Let's bail us out.
Nokkiriza tumwebaze nakuleetera twakita nozikiriza. Jesus did not accept it. Jesus did not accept donations from crooks. Civils were at that time were there. He only shared a meal with Zakayo. But no. Toyinza kutubeera mu ddiini n'obeera nga gwe you are surrounded by crooks. Buli omu gy'alaga nakalema gy'alaga mu Anglican Church. Alonze gundi, alonze nankabirwa. Obuswera bumwetooloolako. Alonze omulenzi who is indicted. Amututte wa muwadde tractor. Accept things. So religious institutions are dead.
Are you serious?
That's why I challenge them. I'm more credible than them.
Are you serious?
So, for me, I've been constantly telling the people I continue sanitizing. That's why none of my people caught it. Attention, Nina Guno. This is a clinic. Ninamu bed sobiraba. Hey, na clinic yang. Because I have three medical doctors. One is in the United States. I get drugs. I'm an informant. I read the journals.
I see.
So for me, I continue telling the people that as Museveni has come up to tell you vaccinate. You see, vaccination is good. What do you do?
You seem to say you have said this
for
so many
instance,
times.
If you have a population of 40 million people and you vaccinate 10, it means you have 10 million people who cannot get the virus, who can get it and disease it, and the rest you increase. It's a battle, it's like a war when you are capturing the territory. That the Tigers are moving towards Addis Ababa. They are shortening, every day they are shortening to Addis Ababa. So when you have a population of 1 million people and you get the volunteers, this is why we have to buy these rats, expensive rats. Can Ugandans offer as a pioneers to be tested on a drug? No.
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 Of course not.
To the most effective, tebabikola. Kubanga babbi basuma banoonya kubba. Nabagamba you go back to parliament and amend the Health Act that anybody who subjects a Ugandan to a fake drug, 10 life imprisonment, tebasobola kikola. Bamanyi bajja kubba, bajja kutunda ebiragala byabwe. Kakati you monitor story, monitor is an agent of SIMS. Monitor is looking to make people panic that we should close during Christmas and Museveni should not open because what the health organization has set a target. Which target? How can you set a target without providing drugs? Imagine. If what the health organization is giving us a target, then it means it would ensure first that all of the countries get the sufficient drugs. Yes, is it true? Kachaba monitor. Noyo chiwanuka bayina gwe bakolera baagala forceful gondi bagayinti drugs ziweddewo bazina naye kuluno mwakola losi accept the loss mubbye nnyo kuluno mubbye nnyo kakati muyina mwe mbitundu
but muzeyi kiri wakiwanuka kyekimuwaga
anti kiri wakiwanuka
coming up and saying
bakozesa mafias use credible and state institutions and you use the churches are failed Mengo has failed. Orusishiro, abo babbi nnyo, they stink. Mengo's record stinks. The Catholics have hidden, are in hiding. They have so many hospitals, but they are moving cautiously.
Yes.
Because they don't also trust.
Not hiding, moving cautiously.
They are moving cautiously.
Yes.
The Muslims are moving cautiously. It's only the excited Anglicans. Why? The Anglican Church has accepted crooks. You hear fighting over land, fighting over what? The Kazimba has allowed the crooks in the government to infiltrate the Anglican Church. Yes. So the Anglican Church, the churches, is only Museveni. For me, when I hear Museveni...
But to say Museveni was immunized, but people did not go there.
Yes.
We saw images of him and
but
the first
that would be
being immunized.
You see, Ugandans,
people did not
they
go.
Can tell you, those people, the opposition and those who are opposed to government, can tell you, who vaccinated Museveni. How are you sure that it was medicine?
Yes.
Yes, because I've told you that once a government loses government to public trust, like banks, even if you get a credible bank,
yes,
because of the money that was lost in the banks, even a bank, when I hear somebody saying, this bank has been guaranteed by a Bank of Uganda, I ran away. Because all of the banks that have collapsed on the lap of government. So these people, the mafias, use credible institutions, and as a result, this, like the Anglican Church, Kazimba doesn't know. Kazimba, he doesn't know that credibility is like a virginity. You lose it once.
Exactly. When
people see you with Tumwebaze bringing you tractors, when Tumwebaze is facing an international indictment, then you lose.
Yes.
When you tell people that we need 57 billion to pay for church house, when people are buying buildings, how much is that building? It means that for you, you have nothing. Even the plot is not yours. So Kazimba has totally destroyed the Anglican Church.
Serious?
Yes, and because he comes from an area where Nankabirwa comes from, he had the contacts with the Nankabirwa. Or these people were involved in choosing him. You see, the mafias help you to do something to be, and
to use you in the future.
They use you in the future. This is the problem. So when it comes to vaccination, I support the president because he has never betrayed Ugandans. But can he guarantee that the medicine the drugs that were used on him are the same drugs that are being used? How do we safeguard against crooks?
That is if they were real drugs.
We have got cases where government officials have been arrested with stashed drugs. Yes. And the case is not progressing.
Government stashed drugs labeled with government of Uganda.
So if you want to be tough, if you are working for suspicious society like ours, it must be preceded by tough laws. You go and amend the Health Act and you put in tough measures.
What would be the role of influencers in this drive?
When they are there, who are the influencers? We don't have influencers. In Uganda, we don't have influencers. I've told you that as a change agent, mass communication, I was trained as a change agent. I've told you that if I want to stop female mutilation in Sebei, I don't use the king of Sebei. I use men to come and say.
Maybe the men will listen to the king.
You look for a woman who was married as a comfortable, who never suffered that female card. So that why is it intended to?
It is intended to please men.
Like in Uganda, it is intended to protect the woman against rape.
I had thought that it is also intended to please men at first. For that one of the Baganda. Also,
weak men can take advantage. That romancing, they can touch. You see, Africans don't, because Africans are vibrant a little bit because of the climate. You find many African men don't have this time of romancing. They already hit. Yes.
Of course, many of them are not interested in that.
But it was intended. In fact, a Muganda woman, because we are not moving with the knickers, a Muganda woman will tell another woman, you have overstretched your legs, and the obusolo, These also like Bukapa, like Amagunju, will even feed on your husband's chicken.
I see.
Otudde bubi obusolo bujja kulya enkoko z'omwami wo. It was not intended nti nkoko. It was you are not covered yourself.
Yes.
So okusika
exposing yourself.
Okukyalira ensiko was intended to protect the woman without a nika against rape.
I see.
And sitting and not exposing the inside. I'm a mass communicator. I'm a mass communicator. I can help government in many ways. But the problem, these people, the people who
they don't use credible people.
No, they don't.
They just move around with groups.
When you come to me, you have to pay.
Of course.
Yes. That's why they go through other people, not me. Me, when you come, I want money.
I see.
And I cannot accept money through a middleman.
I see.
The ministry should come to me.
They know
because normally in Uganda, powerful people get access to this money. Mberanda somebody and take Mwanda Wayazi Ngolugosi. I cannot. No. I fight you.
I see.
You take your money and I remain with my arrogance.
I see.
Yeah.